Okay, today is the 9th of August, and we've just come to the 26th chapter of the Samyutta Nikaya. So the first sutta I'll read is 26.1. This chapter 26 is called Upada Samyutta. Upada is arising of the elements. So 26.1 at Savatthi, the Buddha said, monks, the arising, continuation, production and manifestation of the I is the arising of suffering, the continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. Similarly, the arising, continuation, production and manifestation of the ear, nose, tongue, body and mind is the arising of suffering, continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. The cessation, subsiding and passing away of the I is the cessation of suffering, the subsiding of disease, the passing away of aging and death. Similarly, the cessation, subsiding and passing away of the ear, nose, tongue, body and mind is the cessation of suffering, the subsiding of disease, passing away of aging and death. It's the end of the sutta. In the Buddha's Dhamma, the 5 aggregates and the 6 senses suffering. So when they arise to our suffering and the continuation of disease, aging and death, etc. So the Buddha says that in these aggregates and the 6 senses, there is no self, no thing that is permanent, that you can identify to be the self, unchanging. The Buddha says when a person is born, as just suffering that is born and continues, and when a person dies, there's just suffering that passes away. So the other suttas are also a bit similar. The second sutta is the arising of forms, sounds, odors, tastes, touch and thoughts. And the third sutta is the arising of the 6 consciousness. And the fourth sutta is the arising of contact, the 6 types of contact, eye contact, ear contact, nose contact, etc. And then the 5th sutta is about the arising of feelings born of eye contact, ear contact, nose contact, etc. And the 6th sutta is the arising of perception. I read the 8th sutta, 26.8, at Savatthi. Monks, the arising, continuation, production and manifestation of craving for forms, craving for sounds, craving for smells, taste, touch and thoughts, is the arising of suffering, the continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. The cessation, subsiding and passing away of craving for forms, craving for sounds, smells, taste, touch and thoughts is the cessation of suffering, subsiding of disease, the passing away of aging and death. So the sutta says that when craving arises, it means suffering arises. But when craving ceases, then suffering ceases. 26.10 at Savatthi, monks, the arising, continuation, production and manifestation of body is the arising of suffering, the continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. Similarly, the arising, continuation, production and manifestation of feeling, of perception, volition, consciousness is the arising of suffering, the continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. But the cessation, subsiding and passing away of body is the cessation of suffering, the subsiding of disease, passing away of aging and death. Similarly, the cessation, subsiding and passing away of feeling, perception, volition and consciousness is the cessation of suffering, the subsiding of disease, the passing away of aging and death. So this sutta is all about this arising of the five aggregates of the six senses and then contact and all that. Now we come to the next chapter, chapter 27, Kilesa Sangyutta. Kilesa means defilements. Defilements refer to the defilements in the mind. 27.2, at Savatthi, the Buddha said, monks, desire and lust for body is a corruption of the mind. Desire and lust for sounds, for odors, for taste, for touch, for thoughts is a corruption of the mind. When a monk has abandoned the mental corruption in these six cases, his mind inclines to renunciation. The mind fortified by renunciation becomes wieldy in regard to those things that are to be realized by direct knowledge. Wieldy means easily used or controlled or handled. The mind fortified by renunciation becomes easily controlled in regard to those things that are to be realized by direct knowledge. That means you can easily attain direct knowledge. So desire and lust for the sense objects are corruption of the mind. But when we abandon this desire and lust for the six sense objects, then the mind is suitable to be used to realize direct knowledge. And the others are also quite similar. Desire and lust for the six sense bases, desire and lust for the six types of consciousness, for the contact, for feeling, perception, volition, craving. And the next sutta I'll read as the last one here, 27.10. Monks, the desire and lust for body, for feeling, for perception, for volition, for consciousness is a corruption of the mind. And the monk has abandoned the mental corruption in these five cases. His mind inclines to renunciation. The mind fortified by renunciation becomes wieldy in regard to those things that are to be realized by direct knowledge. So here, if a person has desire and lust for the five aggregates, and that is a corruption of the mind. But when he abandons the desire and lust for the five aggregates, then the mind inclines to renunciation and becomes very suitable to realize direct knowledge. Now we come to chapter 28, Sariputta Sangyutta, discourses concerning the Venerable Sariputta. 28.1. On one occasion, the Venerable Sariputta was dwelling at Savatthi in Jetas Grove, Anathapindika's park. Then in the morning, the Venerable Sariputta dressed and taking bowl and robe, entered Savatthi for alms. Then when he had walked for alms in Savatthi and had returned from the alms round, after his meal, he went to the blind man's grove for the day's abiding. Having plunged into the blind man's grove, he sat down at the foot of a tree for the day's abiding. Then in the evening, the Venerable Sariputta emerged from seclusion and went to Jetas Grove, Anathapindika's park. The Venerable Ananda saw the Venerable Sariputta coming in the distance and said to him, Friend Sariputta, your faculties are serene, your facial complexion is pure and bright. In what dwelling has the Venerable Sariputta spent the day? And Venerable Sariputta replied, Here, friend, secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, I entered and dwelt in the first jhana, which is accompanied by thought, directed and sustained, with delight and happiness born of seclusion. Yet, friend, it did not occur to me, I am attaining the first jhana, or I have attained the first jhana, or I have emerged from the first jhana. And Venerable Ananda said, it must be because I-making, mind-making, and the underlying tendency to conceit have been thoroughly uprooted in the Venerable Sariputta for a long time, that such thoughts did not occur to him. That's the end of the sutta. So here, whereas Sariputta, like a lot of arahants, He spent the day meditating, abiding in the jhana. So for him in this sutta, he says that the whole day, most of the day, he was abiding in the first jhana. But because he's arahant with no self, he does not think, I am attaining the first jhana or abiding in the first jhana or have emerged from the first jhana. He has no self. So Ananda praised him that for a long time he has cut the conceit, the I am. That's why he can be like that. So the other suttas are similar to this. Is that Sariputta spends the day in the different types of jhana. In the second sutta, he spent the whole day in the second jhana. In the third sutta, he spent the day in the third jhana. In the fourth sutta, he spent the day in the fourth jhana, fourth rupa jhana. The fifth sutta, Venerable Sariputta spent the day in the base of infinity of space, boundless space, which is the first arupa jhana. And the sixth sutta, he spent the day in the second arupa jhana. The seventh sutta, he spent the day in the third arupa jhana, the base of nothingness. In the eighth sutta, he spent the day in the fourth arupa jhana, the base of neither perception nor non-perception. In the ninth sutta, he spent the day in the cessation. I'll read this ninth sutta, similar as before. And Venerable Sariputta replied to Venerable Ananda, "Hear, friend, by completely transcending the base of neither perception nor non-perception, I entered and dwelt in the cessation of perception and feeling. Yet, friend, it did not occur to me, I am attaining the cessation of perception and feeling, or I have attained the cessation of perception and feeling, or I have emerged from the cessation of perception and feeling." And Venerable Ananda similarly praised him. It must be because I-making, mind-making, and the underlying tendency to conceit have been thoroughly uprooted in the Venerable Sariputta for a long time, that such thoughts did not occur to him. That's the end of the sutta. So you see, all these suttas up to this number 9, you find Venerable Sariputta abiding in all the different types of jhana, including the highest, the state of cessation, the cessation is the cessation of perception and feeling, which also means cessation of consciousness. Now, the later books, they say that the Venerable Sariputta was liberated by wisdom, and the understanding of liberation by wisdom is that the monk did not attain any jhana. But you can see from here that even though Venerable Sariputta attained liberation by wisdom, yet he has all the jhanas. Only thing is, even though he has all the jhanas, he does not have psychic power, unlike some of the other monks. 28.10. On one occasion, the Venerable Sariputta was dwelling at Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. Then in the morning, the Venerable Sariputta dressed, and taking bowl and robe, entered Rajagaha for alms. Then when he had walked for alms on continuous alms round in Rajagaha, he ate the alms food, leaning against a certain wall. Stop here for a moment. You see, it is mentioned here, he walked for alms on continuous alms round. Continuous alms round means he goes from house to house. He does not select houses. Or there's a rich guy and where they go to his house and get good food. He doesn't think like that. Doesn't matter whether the house is rich or poor. He goes house to house. But later books, like Mahayana books, they say that a monk is only supposed to beg from maximum of 7 homes. Now, this is mentioned in the Theravada books as an external sect, ascetic practice. This is not a Buddhist practice. It is practiced by external sect, ascetics. In the Buddha's Vinaya, a monk can go to any number of houses until he gets enough food for his meal. So Venerable Sariputta was eating his food by the side of a wall. Then the female wanderer, Suchi Mukhi, approached the Venerable Sariputta and said to him, "Ascetic, do you eat facing downwards?" And he said, I don't eat facing downwards, sister. Then ascetic, do you eat facing upwards? And he said, I don't eat facing upwards, sister. Then ascetic, do you eat facing the four quarters? I don't eat facing the four quarters, sister. Then ascetic, do you eat facing the intermediate directions? I don't eat facing the intermediate directions, sister. And the female wanderer asked him, when you are asked, ascetic, do you eat facing downwards? Do you eat facing upwards, etc.? You reply, I don't eat thus, sister. Then how do you eat, ascetic? Venerable Sariputta replied, sister, those ascetics and Brahmins who earn their living by the debased art of geomancy, that means feng shui, a wrong means of livelihood, these are called ascetics and Brahmins who eat facing downwards. Those ascetics and Brahmins who earn their living by the debased art of astrology, wrong means of livelihood, those are called ascetics and Brahmins who eat facing upwards. Those ascetics and Brahmins who earn their living by undertaking to go on errands and run messages, a wrong means of livelihood, these are called ascetics and Brahmins who eat facing the four quarters. Those ascetics and Brahmins who earn their living by the debased art of palmistry, fortune telling, a wrong means of livelihood, these are called ascetics and Brahmins who eat facing the intermediate directions. Sister, I do not earn my living by such wrong means of livelihood as the debased art of geomancy, or the debased art of astrology, or by undertaking to go on errands and run messages, or by the debased art of palmistry. I seek alms food righteously, and having sought it, I eat my alms food righteously. Then the female wanderer, Suchi Mukhi, went from street to street and from square to square in Rajagaha, announcing, the ascetics following the Sakyan son eat righteous food, they eat blameless food, give alms food to the ascetics following the Sakyan son. That's the end of the sutta. Sakyan son here is Sakyaputta. That means referring to the Buddha. So here you can see that in the original Buddha's teachings, all these are wrong means of livelihood. That means practicing geomancy, feng shui, hong shui, or practicing astrology, or running errands for lay people, or fortune telling. All these are wrong means of livelihood. A monk practices right livelihood when he practices the Noble Eightfold Path according to the Buddha's teachings, and not eating food in these wrong ways. But unfortunately nowadays some monks do some of these things. So the female wanderer was so impressed by Venerable Sariputta. He went around asking lay people to give food to the Buddha's disciples. Now we come to chapter 29, Naga Sangyutta. This word Naga, during the Buddha's time, had two meanings. One is like here, it refers to the snake spirits. The devas or devis who have the snake body. And there's another meaning of Naga, is that like a great being like a big, huge elephant, or a huge snake spirit, or a great hero. That's the other meaning of Naga. But here, this chapter is referring to the snake spirits. The snake spirits belong to the lowest heaven, that is under the four great heavenly kings. 29.2. At Savatthi, the Buddha said, monks, there are these four modes of generation, that means four modes of birth of Nagas. What four? Nagas born from eggs, Nagas born from the womb, Nagas born from moisture, and Nagas of spontaneous birth. These are the four modes of birth of Nagas. Therein monks, Nagas born from the womb, from moisture, and born spontaneously are superior to Nagas born from eggs. Nagas born from moisture and born spontaneously are superior to Nagas born from eggs and from the womb. Nagas born spontaneously are superior to Nagas born from eggs, from the womb and from moisture. These monks are the four modes of birth of Nagas. Stop here for a moment. So the Buddha says, these Nagas, they are born from four different ways. The lowest is the egg-born. Egg-born is the lowest. That means like those snakes that we see around our earth. Most of them are egg-born. But higher than that is the womb-born. That means instead of giving birth to the egg, the egg-born is also sometimes called doubly born, born twice. Because they are first born into the egg, and after that they come out of the egg, it's the second birth, so they are born twice. But I think in our earth here also we have womb born, isn't it? There are some snakes, they don't give birth to the egg, but straight away the babies come out. That is a womb born, supposed to be higher. And then higher than that is Nagas born from moisture, that we don't see in our earth. Those may be spiritual beings that we can't see with our eye. And then the highest is spontaneously born. That means they suddenly appear. It's like some devas and devis in heaven. They suddenly appear out of nowhere. They spontaneously appear. Now this is interesting because from here you can see probably that the Nagas born of moisture and spontaneously born, they take birth in the heavens. In the heavens. Okay. So that's why you see that there is in the Bible, I remember it's a Gospel according to St. John, Jesus Christ was approached one night by a priest and was asked, why is it true or you say that beings have to be reborn? And Jesus Christ said yes. And he asked 3 times and Jesus Christ said yes. And Jesus Christ said, unless a man be born of water and of spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. So now the interpretation, born of water means baptized, born of spirit means like you take when you go for Mass, Holy Communion, you take the wine as the spirit. But if you go according to the Buddha's words, what Jesus meant is that to be born in heaven, only these 2 types of birth, moisture born and spontaneously born, is born of the spirit. And the next sutta is 29.3, at Savatthi. A certain monk approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side and said to him, Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why some egg-born Nagas here observe the Uposatha and relinquish concern for their bodies? And the Buddha said, Hear monks, some egg-born Nagas think thus. In the past, we acted ambivalently in body, speech and mind. Having done so, with the breakup of the body after death, we were reborn in the company of egg-born Nagas. If today we practice good conduct in body, speech and mind, then with the breakup of the body after death, we shall be reborn in a happy destination, in a heavenly world. Come now, let us practice good conduct of body, speech and mind. This, monks, is the reason, the cause why some egg-born Nagas here observe the Uposatha and relinquish concern for their bodies. So it looks from here that there are some heavenly Nagas, they are also egg-born. Since they possess a snake body, because they are psychic, they can see other beings higher than them with the beautiful heavenly bodies like human beings, whereas they have to be like a snake, so they are ashamed of their bodies. And they realize, here it says, in the past we acted ambivalently. That means we did good deeds as well as evil deeds. because of having done both good and evil. Because of the good karma, they are born in the heavenly birth. But because of their good karma was not so strong, so they became a very low heavenly being with a snake body. So because of that, they decided that they will keep the 8 precepts on the Uposatha days, and then hope to have a better rebirth. And then the following suttas, number 4 to number 6, is the same as this one, except that instead of egg-born naga, you also have the womb-born, moisture-born, and born spontaneously type. 29.11.20. Monk asked the Buddha, "Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born nagas?" And the Buddha says, "Here, monk, someone acts ambivalently in body, speech, and mind. He has heard egg-born nagas are long-lived, beautiful, and abound in happiness. He thinks, oh, with the breakup of the body after death, may I be reborn in the company of egg-born nagas. So he gives food, he gives drink, he gives clothing, he gives vehicles, he gives garlands, he gives fragrance, he gives unguents, he gives bed, he gives dwelling, he gives lamps. Then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of egg-born nagas. This, monk, is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born nagas." So the Buddha says that the people are born as nagas, firstly because they have good and bad karma, and good karma is more than bad karma, so that they have this heavenly rebirth, this low heavenly rebirth. And their good karma is from doing dana. They did a lot of dana, hoping to be reborn as a naga. Some people, especially Chinese, we say naga long. Ling is something very great. But in the range of heavens, they are very low. So the following other suttas also are similar, except that instead of the egg-born, refer to the womb-born and the moisture and born spontaneously nagas. Now we come to the next chapter, 30, Supana Sangyutta. Discourses about Supanas. Supanas are these bird spirits. Another name for them is Garuda. Garuda in Chinese we call Ta Peng Jin Zhi Niao, I think. And they are supposed to be very huge heavenly birds, and they are enemies of these nagas because they attack and eat these nagas. And these nagas, we heard earlier some other sutta about the Brahma, chapter on the Brahmas. The Buddha was talking to one Brahma, and the Buddha said in the previous life he used his psychic power to save some human beings in the ship. Some human beings were in the ship and some naga wanted to eat them. So he caused a storm to arise, tried to make them drown. So you see some nagas, they feed on humans. And these Garudas feed on them. 30.2 at Savatthi. The Buddha said, monks, there are these 4 modes of birth of Supanas or Garudas. What 4? Supanas born from eggs, Supanas born from the womb, born from moisture, Supanas of spontaneous birth. These are the 4 modes of birth of Supanas. Therein, monks, egg-born Supanas carry off only nagas that are egg-born, not those that are womb-born, moisture-born, or spontaneously born. Womb-born Supanas carry off nagas that are egg-born and womb-born, but not those that are moisture-born or spontaneously born. Moisture-born Supanas carry off nagas that are egg-born, womb-born, and moisture-born, but not those that are spontaneously born. spontaneously born Supanas carry off Nagas that are egg-born, womb-born, moisture-born, and spontaneously born. These monks are the four modes of birth of Supanas. So you see from here, you can know that these Supanas or Garudas, they eat these Nagas, they carry off these Nagas. So because these four types of rebirth, they have a system. The egg-born being the lowest, and then followed by higher is the womb-born, and higher is the moisture-born, and the best is the spontaneously born. So those Supanas that are egg-born can only attack and carry off those Nagas that are egg-born, whereas the womb-born can carry off both the egg-born and the womb-born, and then the moisture-born can carry off three types, and the spontaneously born Supanas can carry off, attack and carry off all four types of Nagas. 30.3 Savatthi, monk asked the Buddha, Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas? And the Buddha said, Here monk, someone acts ambivalently in body, speech and mind. He has heard, egg-born Supanas are long-lived, beautiful and abound in happiness. He thinks, with the breakup of the body after death, may I be reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas. Then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas. This monk is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas. That's the end of the sutta. So this one is similar to the Nagas. A person, he has good and bad karma, and he's always thinking of these Garudas, hoping to be reborn as these egg-born Garudas. So that's why he's reborn then. So what we think is a bit dangerous. Sometimes we like something, we keep thinking about something, then we create the affinity. So similarly, for the other three types of Supanas, the womb-born, moisture-born, and spontaneously born also are similar. And then 30.7, and the monk asked the Buddha again, Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas? And the Buddha said, Here monk, someone acts ambivalently in body, speech and mind. He has heard, egg-born Supanas are long-lived, beautiful and abound in happiness. He thinks, with the breakup of the body death, may I be reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas. So he gives food, he gives drink, he gives clothing, he gives vehicles, he gives garlands, he gives fragrance, he gives unguents, he gives beds, he gives dwellings, he gives land, etc. Then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas. This monk is the cause and reason why someone here with the breakup of the body after death is reborn in the company of egg-born Supanas. So similarly, for the other three types of birth, they also are like this. They have done good and bad deeds, and because they did a lot of charity offerings, because they aspired to be born as the Supanas, so they are reborn there. Sometimes we make an aspiration to be reborn somewhere. But if we don't have the good karma, then it cannot be fulfilled. Only if we have the good karma, that is the karma is the condition, and then only we can be reborn. I come to the next. So just now, Nagas and the Supanas, you see, their karma is good and bad. Now we come to chapter 31, Gandhabba Samyutta. Gandhabas fairies that live in trees. They also come under these four great heavenly kings, the lowest heaven. 31.1. At Savatthi, the Buddha said, monks, I will teach you about the devas of the Gandhabba order. Listen, pay attention. And what monks are the devas of the Gandhabba order? There are monks, devas dwelling in fragrant roots, devas dwelling in fragrant hardwood, devas dwelling in fragrant softwood, devas dwelling in fragrant bark, devas dwelling in fragrant shoots, devas dwelling in fragrant leaves, devas dwelling in fragrant flowers, devas dwelling in fragrant fruits, devas dwelling in fragrant sap, and devas dwelling in fragrant scents. These monks are called the devas of the Gandhabba order. That's the end of the sutta. So here you see that in a tree you can have a lot of devas, especially it's a huge tree, a big tree. There are some living in the roots, some prefer to live in the hard wood, some prefer to live in the soft wood, some live in the bark, some live in the shoots, some live in the leaves, some live in the flowers, some live in the fruits, some live in the sap, and some live in the scents. 31.2 A monk asked the Buddha, Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why someone here, with the breakup of the body after death, is reborn in the company of the devas of the Gandhabba order? And the Buddha said, Dear monk, someone practices good conduct of body, speech and mind. He has heard the devas of the Gandhabba order are long-lived, beautiful and abound in happiness. He thinks, oh, with the breakup of the body after death, may I be reborn in the company of the devas of the Gandhabba order. Then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of the devas of the Gandhabba order. This monk is the cause and reason why someone here, with the breakup of the body after death, is reborn in the company of the devas of the Gandhabba order. So you see here the difference between this Gandhabas and the previous Nagas and Supanas is they practice good conduct of body, speech and mind. So unlike the previous two, they also had bad conduct. This one, they have much more good conduct than bad conduct. 31.13 The monk asked the Buddha, Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why someone here, the breakup of the body after death, is reborn in the company of the devas who dwell in fragrant roots? And the Buddha said, Dear monk, someone practices good conduct of body, speech and mind. He has heard the devas who dwell in fragrant roots are long-lived, beautiful and abound in happiness. He thinks, oh, with the breakup of the body after death, may I be reborn in the company of the devas who dwell in fragrant roots. He gives food, he gives drink, clothing, vehicles, garlands, fragrance, unguents, beds, dwellings, land, etc. Then with the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in the company of the devas who dwell in fragrant roots. This monk is the cause and reason why someone here, with the breakup of the body after death, is reborn in the company of the devas who dwell in fragrant roots. Similarly, for the devas who dwell in the hard wood or in the soft wood or in the bark or in the flowers, etc. And then you notice also one thing different of these Gandhabas from the previous two is that they don't have the 4 classes of birth. And the previous one, they have 4 classes, egg-born, womb-born and all that, but not for the Gandhabas. I come to the next chapter, Valahaka Samyutta. Valahaka refers to the cloud devas. I don't know if you remember, in the previous sutta we read that the Buddha said a long time ago when he was in that birth, he was a universal king. He ruled the whole earth, and he said his treasure elephant was called Uposatha, and his favorite steed or favorite horse was called Valahaka. Valahaka can fly like the cloud devas are so fast. 32.1 Monks, I will teach you about the devas of the cloud-dwelling order. Listen, And what monks are the devas of the cloud-dwelling order? There are monks, cool cloud devas, warm cloud devas, storm cloud devas, wind cloud devas, and rain cloud devas. These monks are called the devas of the cloud-dwelling order. So you see, even the cloud devas also got different types. There are some clouds that are cool clouds, some are warm clouds, some are storm clouds, some are wind clouds, some are rain clouds. And then the 32.2, the monk asked, similar to the previous one, what is the cause and reason? Someone is born as a cloud deva, and the Buddha answered that is similar to the Gandhabas. A person practices good conduct of body, speech and mind, and he aspires to be reborn as a cloud deva. So after that he is born as a cloud deva. And then Sutta 32.3 is similar to the previous chapter. Somebody asked the Buddha, how is it that someone is born as a cloud deva? And the Buddha said, that person practices good conduct of body, speech and mind, and he does a lot of charity. He gives food, drinks, clothing, vehicles, garland, fragrance, etc. And then he aspires, makes the wish to be reborn as a cloud deva. So because of his good karma, he is born as a cloud deva. And there are many suttas here for the different types of cloud devas. You have one sutta for the cool cloud devas, you have another sutta for the warm cloud devas, you have another sutta for the storm cloud devas, you have another one for the wind cloud devas, and another one for the rain cloud devas. And that's why you have so many suttas. 32.56. Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why it sometimes becomes windy? And the Buddha said, there are monks, what are called wind cloud devas. When it occurs to them, let us revel in our own kind of delight. Then in accordance with their wish, it becomes windy. This monk is the cause and reason why it sometimes becomes windy. So the Buddha says, when there's a strong wind, these wind cloud devas, they like to play. So they come out to play. So these clouds that move very fast, move like the wind, force that wind. Because if you go by scientific evidence, because science cannot see the devas, so they don't believe in this. But it's all right whether we believe or not. And then the rain cloud devas also. Someone asked, Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why it sometimes rains? And the Buddha said, there are monks what are called rain cloud devas. When it occurs to them, let us revel in our own kind of delight. Then in accordance with their wish, it rains. This monk is the cause and reason why it sometimes rains. Now this one, although we find it sometimes for some people hard to believe, but there were sometimes when our karma is very bad, people, they don't keep the precepts and all that, and the majority of the people are committing a lot of evil karmas, a lot of evil deeds. Then the devas are unhappy, the Buddha says, and when the devas are unhappy, they refuse to rain, refuse to allow it to rain. So that's why it doesn't rain. And sometimes when they are annoyed also, they storms, they cause storms, and all that. That's the Buddhist explanation. Went to karma and partly because of the devas. Now we come to chapter 33, Vachagota Sangyutta. Vachagota is an external ascetic. But here it's called Wanderer. 33.1 at Savatthi. Then the wanderer Vachagota approached the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. When they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, he sat down to one side and said, Master Gotama, what is the cause and reason why these various speculative views arise in the world? The world is eternal, or the world is not eternal, or the world is finite, or the world is infinite, or the soul and the body are the same, or the soul is one thing, the body another, or the Tathagata exists after death, or the Tathagata does not exist after death, or the Tathagata both exists and does not exist after death, or the Tathagata neither exists nor does not exist after death. And the Buddha said, Vaccha, it is because of not knowing body, its origin, its cessation, and the way leading to its cessation, that those various speculative views arise in the world. This Vaccha is the cause and reason why various speculative views arise in the world. So the Buddha says, because of not understanding the body, how the body arises, how it ceases, and the way leading to its cessation. So we don't see that the body is impermanent, that it gives us suffering, that it is anatta, not self. So because of that, most people, we desire and cling to the body. So when you desire and cling to the body, this conceit, the ego arises. You have this I am. Once you have this I am, then you start thinking about the world and thinking about yourself. Like after death, where am I going? Is the world, where did the world come from, and all these things. So you have a lot of views, all because of that ego. The next sutta is the same question the Vacchagotta asked, and the Buddha answered. Instead of body, here the Buddha says, Vaccha, it is because of not knowing feeling, its origin, its cessation, and the way leading to its cessation, that all those various speculative views arise in the world. This Vaccha is the cause and reason why those various speculative views arise in the world. Similarly, in the third sutta, the Buddha says, it's because of not understanding perception, the origin, cessation, and the way leading to the cessation of perception. That's why all the views arise. And the fourth sutta is because of not understanding volition. And the fifth sutta is not because of not understanding consciousness. So you see, the Buddha is saying basically, we group them together, that means because of not understanding the five aggregates, that we cling to a self. When we cling to a self, then all the various speculative views arise in the world. The mind starts thinking, one thought becomes 10, 10 becomes 100 thoughts, 100 thoughts becomes 1,000 thoughts. Now we come to the last sutta of this third book, called the Jhana Samyutta. Jhana is a state, I would translate it as a state of mental incandescence, state of mental brightness, when the mind becomes focused, becomes one-pointed, isin, that the mind starts to become bright. The higher the jhana, the more bright the mind becomes. This mind can only become bright when the mind is totally focused. An ordinary mind is scattered. Our energy goes out to the six senses, to seeing, hearing, smelling, taste, touch, and thinking. So because of that, our mind is scattered. It is not strong. But when it is focused, it comes all the energy is concentrated, and then it begins to become bright. So the Buddha says that for most people, we are sick, mentally sick, because our mind is so scattered. Only the Arahant is a saint. We are all Tigasuku. We are the range. 34.1 at Savatthi, the Buddha said, monks, there are these four kinds of meditators. What four? Here, monks, a meditator is skilled in concentration, regarding concentration, but not skilled in attainment regarding concentration. Here a meditator is skilled in attainment regarding concentration, but not skilled in concentration regarding concentration. Number 3, here a meditator is skilled neither in concentration regarding concentration, nor in attainment regarding concentration. Number 4. Here a meditator is skilled both in concentration regarding concentration and in attainment regarding concentration. Therein, monks, the meditator who is skilled both in concentration regarding concentration and in attainment regarding concentration is the chief, the best, the foremost, the highest, the most excellent of these 4 kinds of meditators. This is monks. From cow comes milk, from milk comes cream, from cream comes butter, from butter comes ghee, and from ghee comes cream of ghee, which is reckoned the best of all these. So too the meditator who is skilled both in concentration regarding concentration and in attainment regarding concentration is the chief, the best, the foremost, the highest, the most excellent of these 4 kinds of meditators. So this one, skill in concentration regarding concentration, I'm not sure, maybe it's about the knowledge about concentration. What are the states of concentration? What are the characteristics and all that? And skill in attainment is being able to attain these various states of concentration. And then second sutta, Savatthi, the Buddha said, monks, there are these 4 kinds of meditators. What for? Here, monks, a meditator is skilled in concentration regarding concentration, but not skilled in maintenance regarding concentration. Number 2, here a meditator is skilled in maintenance regarding concentration, but not skilled in concentration regarding concentration. Here a meditator is skilled neither in concentration nor in maintenance regarding concentration. Number 4, here a meditator is skilled both in concentration and in maintenance regarding concentration. Therein, monks, the meditator who is skilled both in concentration and in maintenance regarding concentration is the chief, the best, the foremost, the supreme, the most excellent of these 4 kinds of meditators. So here it says maintenance regarding concentration probably means being able to maintain your state of jhana, your state of samadhi, or state of concentration. Because if you don't have the kung fu, even though you enter a particular jhana, you won't be able to abide in it for long. You will simply come out of it in a short while. So being able to prolong your stay in that jhana, that is maintaining your concentration. So the other suttas are a bit similar, talking about the various types of meditators. The third one is skilled in maintenance and skilled in emergence, being able to come out quickly from that jhana. And then the fourth one, pliancy, skilled in pliancy in relation to concentration. The fifth, skilled in the object of concentration. 6, skilled in the range of concentration. The 7, skilled in resolution of concentration. Number 8, thorough worker regarding concentration. Number 9, a persistent worker regarding concentration. Number 10, one who does what is suitable regarding concentration. All these suttas here are all about this, all the different types of states concerning concentration. And it's not very interesting, so I don't think we want to go any further. So that's the end of this third book of the Samyutta Nikaya, the Khanda Samyutta. Tomorrow we'll go into the 4th book, called the Salayatana Vaga, another very important topic. So we are proceeding quite fast. After 1 month, about 1 month, we finished 3 books. So it looks like before the end of the Vasa we would have finished. I thought we might not be able to finish. If we finish early and we have time, consider doing the next Nikaya, it's the Majjhima Nikaya. Okay, anything to discuss? Yes, but you must have the supporting karma. If you don't have the supporting karma, then there's no point in making so the most important actually is the supporting karma.
So can we make an aspiration to be reborn again today?
Yeah, you can make, but whether it will succeed or not, you don't want to go for holiday in the Deva realm first.
Well, this is the human, we are the minimal perfect head.
Like the Buddha, after becoming a monk with the Buddha Kassapa, then he went to Sita heaven and enjoyed a long time before he came down to struggle so hard. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. You see, in the suttas, the Buddha did not give very detailed description of the meditation. I think probably for a good reason. Because if you give too detailed instructions like what is being given nowadays, then our mind is very cunning. We like to believe that we already attained it. So like some vipassana students, they are supposed to see Nama-rupa arising and passing away, and very soon they believe that they can see Nama-rupa arising and passing away. And similarly, for those who practice samatha, the teacher tells them they are supposed to see the light. And after a short while, they believe that they see the light. So the Buddha never gave detailed instructions. The Buddha gave the basic instructions, which is sufficient. The rest, you will go and do the work. You go and do the work, and then based on your own experience and your own wisdom to guide you, it's not difficult. The difficult part is whether you are willing to let go or not. When you let go, you go faster. It's like a ship. If you carry a lot of goods on your ship, how can you go like a speedboat? You must throw away all that extra load. Then only your boat will go faster and faster. So like this, prolonging the jhana and all that is from constant abiding. The more you abide in the jhana, then the more you can prolong it. It's not difficult to understand that. The more you abide in it, and then you're used to that state, then you can easily prolong. The only thing is like the sutta about the hen making the wish for the chicks to hatch. Have to do the work to sit on the eggs, and then the chickens will hatch. So you keep doing the work, and then that's the way to become good at it. It doesn't mean that. But sitting long is helpful if you want to attain samadhi. There's one teacher from the Himalayas, one organization, one Swami. He tells his disciples you have to sit a minimum of 3 hours to get results. Because the longer we sit, the mind tends to calm down. But of course, if you don't have the kung fu also, it's very difficult to sit long. So it's from constant practice, and then the mind calms down. So a lot of conditions, to succeed. So we have to guide ourselves using our wisdom, as the Buddha says, be a lamb unto yourselves. Be a refuge unto yourselves, in no other as your refuge. And take the Dhamma as your lamb, take the Dhamma as your refuge, in no other refuge. Sitting posture is important in the sense that your spine has got to be straight. But whether you cross your leg or not is not important. And not so important. If you sit straight, there are some people, maybe their legs are a bit fat. They have to sit on a chair. It's also okay. As long as your spine is straight. If you sit on a chair, it's best not to use one with a backrest. If there's a backrest, you tend to relax into it. Actually, if a person attains good samadhi, the anger drops very suddenly. If a person attains assessed concentration, even some of our Buddhist supporters have told me they practice, and then one day the temper suddenly gone down. The children also notice. So it is mentioned in the suttas that this is assessed concentration. When you attain assessed concentration, the mind lights up. The mind lights up, and the anger and the lust goes down very much. So that people notice it, and you notice it also. It's not that you don't have temper, you still have anger, but it's reduced very much. But I notice that anger is generally is connected with ego. When we have ego and then some things don't go our way, then we get very angry. There's some old ladies and all that. They don't have much ego, so then they don't have much anger also. Well, in a way they are related. So understanding the suttas is very important. When we read the suttas or listen to the suttas, then we have a better understanding. Then we know the danger of anger, we know the danger of the ego, then we learn to cut it. I have one supporter. He's a businessman. He has been listening to the Dhamma talks and he has the wisdom to understand much of it. He told me before he heard the suttas and all that, he had a bad temper. If somebody says something that he doesn't like, immediately flare up. And now after learning the Dhamma, he realizes it's not good for his ego. So immediately he doesn't allow himself to get angry. So understanding Dhamma is also very important, helpful. Letting go of your attachments. When you meditate and you find the mind is very difficult to calm down because a lot of thoughts. You analyze the thoughts. What are those thoughts? Those are your attachment. Those are those things that you worry about. You keep worrying about those things because you are very attached to those things. One way is do chanting. Like Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Just keep chanting. Or Arahang, 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 Arahang. Something to occupy our mind. Just have something to occupy your mind and you won't wander. As they say, idle mind is a devil's workshop. This chanting is a long Indian tradition. They like to chant mantras. But it's not necessary to chant mantras. We chant our Namo Tassa, Arahang, or Buddho, whatever you like. Or Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, like that non-stop. Very helpful. The moment, if you keep chanting, your mind doesn't stray. But just now I think I was mentioning sowing, doing sowing. No, he's not sitting down. He's trying to sow something and all the thoughts. Oh, I see. That is the chapchok, attachment. Different people, character is different. There's some like you, the worrying type. Always worrying about things that they maybe should not worry about, and you keep worrying about. Habit. But it also shows actually that you are a very responsible person, and you have something, you want to do it, finish it, you want to do it well and all this. There's some people, they tidak apa type, never bother, never worry. I think especially we have China genes. Today's suttas we went through are not so much Dhamma. You mean engage in sexual intercourse? It depends. Firstly, if he engages in sexual intercourse, firstly he should be expelled. But if he does it with a nun, then he's not allowed to reordain. Yeah, I should apply, because when a person wears the robe and he takes himself to be a samanera and other people take him to be a samanera, so he's expected to behave like a samanera. No, the Buddha didn't say that. You have more of a characteristic of a man, then you are born as a man. You have more of a woman, you are born as a woman. But sometimes it happens that somebody who has been a woman many lifetimes, then is born as a man. Then he behaves a bit what we call pondan, because his character is more... and also your environment also influences a person. If say like you have one family, you have 5 daughters and 1 son, and then that son is influenced by all the sisters, so he becomes a bit feminine. On the other hand, if you have 5 boys and 1 girl, and then that girl becomes tomboy. But what is whether you are a man or a woman is not so important. It's your karma that's important, because your karma will determine where you're going to be reborn. And the important point is that we don't want to be reborn in the woeful planes. Right? So to be very careful about our karma so that we don't... And now even if you're born as a male dog, it's no good, or born as a male ghost also is no good, Better be a female Devi, For those people who don't believe in these devas, this is a good reason to believe. Actually, it means, to my interpretation, is to first step is to set up mindfulness. Not like physically in front. First thing when you meditate, first thing to do is to set up mindfulness. Sometimes some of these expressions, like this, is a translation from the Pali, Indian language. Surprisingly, Indian language has 1 or 2 things similar to our Chinese language. In the Vinaya books, they said that say like you have a certain sima, a certain boundary. If you recite outside the boundary, you are not considered a member of the Sangha. So, like in Hokkien we say, Lukhya Titolok. Actually, you are asking where do you stay? But literally, where do you stand? Isn't it? Where do you stand? And Hokkien, Lukhya Titolok is where do you live? But literally is where do you stand? And the Indian language also is the same. In our Vinaya book, it says, if you stand outside the boundary, you are not a member of the Sangha. But I believe it means if you recite outside the boundary. So sometimes these words, you have to know the meaning. Like when they say, what we say, idle gossip, don't engage in idle gossip. And in the suttas it says, don't talk animal talk. Don't talk animal talk. Animal talk, to an Indian, animal talk, talking about all kinds of rubbish, all kinds of nonsense. Maybe it's mentioned there fragrant, maybe they prefer fragrant trees. There are so many trees to choose, why want to choose a smelly tree? Yeah. In fact, those, some people believe that some fragrant trees are haunted. They can't differentiate between deva and a ghost. So it's because it's spirit, they say it's haunted, meaning ghost actually. Yeah, might we make friend to them, whether they are ghosts or they are deva, so we make friend. Live and let live. Can we transfer merit now?